we have talked about this before, but I'm happy to clarify again, the question about how do you open your heart with the breath and feeling, and how do you feel into the heart of being or into the core of yourself? All of that is really rather simple, but of course it's not so easy because we're working against a lot of conditioning. But the main thing that I can say about it is that when we are opening our heart, we are opening to what is, not what we think ought to be. I say it again. When we ask our heart to open, we are saying to our deeper self, please open to what is. Let me experience the deeper reality at the core of me. Not the fact that I would like to feel great or the fact that I would like to feel this or that or anything else. Whatever is, openness, that openness has its own rasa, its own quality. Another one of you commented on that just before I started class, that when you really open and you let go, then you have a tendency to feel your tears are starting to run a little bit, you're feeling your sadness and your deeper whatever, can be anger, can be sadness, can be some kind of joy. But the deeper joy that we are after, the deeper openness, is just the rasa, the sweetness of freedom. The freedom to feel whatever state we're in. It's okay. It's all of it part of God. It's all of it part of our deeper self. Nothing to reject, nothing to think about, nothing to judge. In fact, if we judge and if we think about it, you're guaranteed not to have an open heart. Guaranteed. One thing follows the other. So please try to, or not just try, but do it. Let go of your mind. Your mind is going to be there when you come back from these exercises. It is perfectly capable of judging and reasoning and analyzing, but not here, not when you're doing this, not when you are working with that on your own. Your mind is the slayer of the soul. It's that simple. And that's not because the mind is bad. It's just that the mind does disruptive things to this opening that we can have inside, in our heart and in our whole system. So just, doing a simple exercise of breathing into the heart, bringing the intention there of opening, but not to already think about what is that opening going to be like. You can't. The minute you start projecting or, expecting something, it's dead. It is dead. Sorry to say, but it is dead. And that's nothing to judge yourself about or to be mad at yourself about. If you do that, just recognize honestly that you do it, witness it, observe it, and go deeper and just allow yourself to feel. And the minute your thoughts come in and say, oh, but I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to feel that, I'm not feeling anything. Don't go there. Just keep feeling into the heart. That's I've said to you before. This is why at some point I told somebody who said all the time, I'm so depressed. I said, well, enjoy it. That's where we can start. If you start with that, that's what an open heart is. I like to say no problem can survive in an open heart. That's because your mind at that point is not a part of it. Your mind is only used as an instrument to tune in and witness. That's all. No thinking, no anything. And if you catch yourself thinking, okay, then notice it, let it go and go deeper. Surrender is the key. And this is what needs to be surrendered. In this mind is all of the traumas and all the conditioning that we have developed throughout this lifetime and before. So I was really touched by one of you who commented on this experience inside of opening in Openness class. You know, somebody who's practiced TM for many years and never had that feeling. It's really possible in this rising energy practice, in this Rudra tradition, to feel the purity and the openness of the heart and our whole system without any mind whatsoever, without any logical mind. And of course, that deeper connection with ourselves has a tremendous rasa in it. It has a joy in it, but it's the joy of freedom. It's not the joy of ego or the joy of accomplishing anything. It's the joy of being open and free. It has its own reward. It brings tears to our eyes. And you know, if you have traumas and you have deep things inside that makes you unable to easily do this, I would even recommend, you know, when we're having open eyes class, imagine consciously project your traumas onto me or whoever is sitting here, because I can dissolve it. They're not these traumas and these deeper patterns are not yours. That's not who you are. So don't own them. Give them back. Give them back to your parents and to your past, and let now be dominated by this beautiful, open experience of freedom. This is what Shiva is. It's pure potential. It can be anything. And we are all Shiva. We are. That is the core of our being. That definitely has a beautiful quality in it. I mean, haven't you ever felt really sad about something and at the same time felt a kind of bittersweet joy in the middle of that sadness? If you haven't, work a little deeper, because that's what happens. You are not these patterns. You are not these traumas. You are not, use the wounds that you feel. When somebody's pushing your button and you feel this pain, don't judge yourself. Just acknowledge it, witness it. Oh, when somebody says that to me, I feel this pain. But why? Is it something in my childhood, something from the past, some reason that triggers this kind of feeling? And none of that stuff is real anymore. You are all adults, practicing people. You don't have to carry your traumas and your difficulties with you. Visualize your parents or however you received what you received in the way of traumas, and consciously give it back to them. Not to harm them, but to be free yourself. It's not who you are. It's an artificial layer that has been laid on top of you. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to clean it up. It's a big responsibility, but if we don't take the responsibility of it, then we also shouldn't complain. So, the main thing that we are trying to do here is to achieve freedom from the mind, freedom from ourselves. We're not going to kill the mind. The mind's going to operate in ways that it needs to operate. No problem. But we cannot let it run our lives. This deeper feeling that brings tears to our eyes, that should run our life. Gratitude. How fabulous. And even if we are dying tomorrow, that reality is there. Total freedom, total oneness with Shiva, the creative energy. That's who we are. So let's start being that. Even after you look at, the source of your traumas and so on, and give the patterns back to where they came from, you will still feel your buttons pushed. But, then when you take the responsibility, you will act with this simple practice to go more deeply into yourself than what's causing the buttons to be pushed. When you go into the heart of being or the core of yourself with a big S, then you are in dynamic stillness. You are in that place where, it can be expanded in your awareness.
Yeah.
It can take on more and more and more. It can be more and more a part or really who you are all the time. You still have your personality and likes and dislikes. You're not going to lose anything. But you will not allow those negative or difficult limiting patterns to dominate you. And, to me, this is the most important thing any human being can do.